Hey everybody, it's Dive Girl Dab. Look at this beautiful blue hose. It's pretty. But look how freaking big it is. This is 2 inches. What am I going to do with this? Well, you can see this is one of my favorite blue shirts that I like to wear. I like blue. And of course, we got this blue tapestry that I'm hoping to put in the ceiling of the boat. These will be the blue curtains, and a bigger print will probably be for some of the seat covers. Our name, SV Militant's Miracle, is in blue. There's our compass. That's blue. And then we have our infamous shower curtain, which I might have to get another one and not take this one down because I really, really like it. So I like blue. I've liked blue my whole life. And there's something about this blue hose that I really like. All right, so what am I up to today? Okay, so I'm kind of focused on like damage control. And in fact, this is my damage control bag that I'm putting together. I have some wooden plugs, and I've got some other stuff, but I did happen to lay hands on my Gorilla Tape, and I did put this in a food saver bag just to keep it spongy in that, but I'm going to start to assemble my damage control bag because I think it's time. Well, and part of this is that I'm starting to feel better, and so production is going to start. And one of the things I want to do is to kind of reorganize all my parts and stuff. And this is my half bathroom. That's the sink. There's the toilet. I've got stuff all over the top of the washer and the dryer right now. I'm thinking that I need a place that I can put up some shelves and better organize all my boat stuff and put it in more specific boxes. And that's in part because I continue to have like little pieces and parts that trickle in. My filing cabinet here has been really great because it's got all kinds of space for stuff, and I've got pieces and parts everywhere and tools and stuff all over the place. There's a lot of fittings in here, and I think my wood blocks are in here somewhere. And then more stuff there. I've got new gas cans and more bags. And let's just not ignore the big pile of stuff here, which is a water heater and a couple Johnson pumps, a refrigerator, a fuel system, a water tank, vents, winches, lightning systems. I mean, I've got stuff everywhere. But today we're going to talk about bilge pumps. All right, so we have a 30-foot sailboat, a trailer sailor, our Luger. A pretty little boat, and very soon I'm going to start working hard on my projects. And this is the summer project list right now. Fencing is probably the priority, but pretty soon I'm going to be ready to move the boat. I need to think, do I want to pour a concrete slab over there first? And the answer is, of course, yes. So that decision has paused me. I could do it in phases. I really only need like 6 feet right now, but Jesus, if I'm gonna like rent a bobcat to scrape an area, build some forms and pour it, I might as well just do all of it. So I don't know what that, if that concrete happens, it'll be in the fall, but we'll see. So I've got to move things around. I'm going to sell the ski boat. I'm going to sell the big camper and all of that. Oh yeah, and 2/3 of my property gets refenced this year. So I bought a power auger to drill holes. There's the motor sitting under my chair. I'm trying to get creative on where to put shit right now. But I think I just have to like bite the bullet and decide to set up a big shelf in my spare bedroom. And I didn't really want to do it in there because I wanted to leave it as a guest bedroom and a sewing room. But now I'm kind of thinking that bathroom area is just not really big enough. I'm kind of thinking too, like, well, if I get the boat back there, then I can put some storage on the trailer, under the boat. But a lot of this stuff's electronics and that, and I don't really want it going outside yet. We have mice and rats here, and I don't want anything damaged, and I don't want anything damaged that I don't know about. So it's safer in the house. So anyway, let's talk about today's subject as I divert. Today is how to de-water the boat. So there's a couple of levels of this, and the first step is like your little nuisance links that you're going to get, little drips here and there. those kinds of things. And your deep hole, kind of a V, which I have a very deep V hole in the forward area, that needs it's pretty deep, so I can't reach my arm down there, so it's a good 3-4 feet. That's going to need a really deep pump. And then the boat came with a pretty good sized pump. That's the circumference of the base. I don't know who it is. It's red, white, and blue, but it's old. It's at least 15 years old. I haven't hooked it up yet, but I'm not going to rely on it. It could be used for something else, but I'm not going to use it as part of like an emergency damage kit, situation. Now I'm also going to put a shower in the boat for the first time, and so I do have a shower box, and it's got a box container with a snap-on lid. I mean, if water could get through that snap-on lid and into the pump's got its own float switch, and it'll act as a bilge pump for you. Or you could pop the top and use it as a bilge pump. But I wanted to look deeper into like, how should I set up my system? Because this is all new for the boat. It's never been on this boat before. And I've got some architectural background and engineering background, but I'm not trained in this stuff. So I do a lot of reading. I watch videos and go to manufacturers' websites and learn, and I look at standards from the Coast Guard and ABYC and their standards, and I look at that kind of stuff, and then I make some decisions. So let's talk about what I have on hand already and what my plan is. So I have a damage control bag. It's got a little tie cord on it, and this is going to go in the boat where we have, everything that just needs, like if you got a leak, you're going to grab that and go with that. Okay. But first off, we're going to talk about your emergency, because you should have an emergency bilge pump on the boat. So if you lose all power, this is a manual pump here, and put the handle in and pump it. Now I have bought a couple of these little doodads here where that will snap that handle into a wall, and we'll screw that on so the handle will be inside the cupboard. The pump will be inside the cupboard, and it'll be covered up with this plate, and you'll open this up, and that will give you access to the pump through the seat, basically in the cockpit, and then you can attach the handle and pump. And this is a pretty decent little pump. I mean, 870 gallons an hour is a pretty good number. That will, according to the standards, be big enough to handle a 26 to 30 foot sailboat. So this pump alone will do that. Okay. Now we're going to look at my shower pump. Of course, the advantage here is there's no electricity. So if you lose all your batteries, you have, an electrical fire, and you need to dewire the boat until you can get some help, send flares up or what have you. So if your power goes out and you just have to go and diagnose it, and then, continue to dewire the boat, you can maybe have somebody on board that's with you, and you can just put them pumping on this while you go figure it out. Now this is my shower pan, and it's basically a little sump. It's got a small pump in here, and that's doing 750 gallons an hour. Okay, it's got its own float switch, so as soon as the water comes up, it'll start pumping out. And I think, that's a pretty good deal. I've also got a little chart here talking about bilge pumps and capacities, so we're going to review that in a minute. And then one of the first pumps I bought was this nice little whale. It's 1,100 gallons an hour, and it will slot really deep down into the hole and really get that water that's in that bow section for me out. And it's electric, which is great. And I had planned on hooking that up. I've got some nice bilge wire, so you can see here that this is water marine grade bilge pump cabling. So we got the right stuff. And then before I thought about it a little more in my ventures, I picked up a couple of these electric float switches. And what people will do is they'll mount one of these down low and put a small pump on it, and then they'll mount one up higher and put a big pump on it. And so that if the little pump can't handle this, then the water keeps coming up, then this will kick in your bigger pump. But then I read that these float switches are prone to problems. You know, if you get debris underneath them, they're not going to operate properly, and so you need to definitely keep that clean. But aside from that, I've heard of people, you know, having issues where they'll either stick on all the time and then the pump overheats and you've got a fire situation, or it just doesn't come on at the right times. Maybe the float got cracked, it fills with water. So I don't personally think these are going to be reliable for what I want to do, but I have some here just because if I need to have a spare switch to throw in an instant, I'll have that. So you're probably looking at that big red Johnson Mac Daddy there on the table. Well, that's going to be the meat and potatoes of this system. And what I'm actually thinking about doing is having two systems. We have the shower pump, the little whale, and the emergency manual pump. Put that all in one circuit. And I hear really good things about these electronic pump switches. This is a Johnson switch, which I thought about putting this pump on, and I'm not sure I'm going to. But when you get water between these two places here, it will short itself out and close that circuit and turn on your pump. So it won't do that with oil, but it will definitely do it with water. And I also got a bilge alarm. So this is a high water alarm, which is very loud, and it's going to go on our main control system, which will, because we're a pilot house, so this will be on the interior control, I believe. And we've got a switch here, so you can turn it on and off, and you can test it. Does it cycle? Even if you're running the diesel motor, you should be able to hear this alarm and in the cockpit area, so it'll be right there close by. I also added in one of these little water witch bilge counters, and what it can do is if I'm going to put this electric pump and this electric pump on this switch here, then this is going to count the number of cycles in a period of time, and it will tell you, like, you know, this came on 10 times in the last hour. Okay, well, that might be just your normal seepage, and these are going to pick that up and pull it out for you. But it might also come back and tell you, like, hey, you got a problem here because this thing's coming on, you know, 200 times an hour. And so something's leaking, it's getting sucked out, so you're not seeing it. And then, you know, you don't really know what's going on. You're maybe plugged into shore power, so you don't notice the power draw of that pump coming on all the time. So this will tell me when it's going to kick on, and then I can reset it. So there we go. So if we look at the little whale pump, 1,100 gallons, the whale gusher at 780, and the shower pump, well, that puts me at 2720 in gallons per hour to remove off the boat. And if we come down here, we can see that, boy, that puts us in the range of a 40 to 50 foot boat, according to this. Now, there are other calculations to consider here. Number one, if you buy some of that low-end plastic corrugated bilge hose, those little corrugations are going to cause resistance, and you're going to lose a good percentage of the performance of your pump. Now, if you go buy a hose that's smooth-walled, like I have, I should not experience that as much. This is nice and smooth. And then my smaller hose is going to be the sanitary hose here, which is smooth in the middle as well. Well, now their head height, how high from the water line where the pump is extracting water does it have to lift before it goes overboard? Well, you need to come up at least to the water line or above to prevent siphoning back in the system. Now, if you don't, then you need to put in a anti-siphon valve, a loop with a vent on it. And I have some for 1.5 inch for this smaller system, but to try to find it for 2-inch hose is a $250 item, a 2-inch loop. They're very spendy. So I don't know that I'm going to do it on my big crash pump, and I'm going to tell you later why that is. All right, so as I was looking at this stuff, I was thinking, yeah, this is great to have this capacity, but what if? And I am somebody who likes to go poke around and see stuff alone. So yeah, it's likely I'm going to be single-handed on the boat a good bit because I'm cool with that. I love to go explore and just follow my intuition and not be bothered by somebody's yammering in my ear like, I want to do this, Dad. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of days that we go do that too. But I'm going to build this boat designed for me to operate on my own. And that way it's going to be easy. I'm a Lyme patient. I don't need a lot of work. Manually pumping a boat doesn't really excite me at the end of the day. So to have something that's going to like take care of me and coddle me, even if I spend some extra money, I think is a viable option. So I looked around and I looked at pumps, and I've got two Johnson pumps for our washdown and our main water supply for the boat. And I'm impressed with their pumps. And I'll tell you something else. When you pick this dude up, this thing's heavy. It's 5 or 6 pounds. And it's because that if you look at the videos on these, that motor rotor is just this big. It's huge with all this copper wire in there. And they give you an option to do 1.5 inch or 2 inch. Now, because I'm greedy and I'm cautious, and I just don't want to underestimate what I'm going to need. There are some boats that could wind up at high tide over an area that was rocky, and the tide come down and drop them on it, and then the waves bash them around, and they could probably sustain that. I don't think my Luger can, and so I want to buy time and give myself time to, get control of the water leakage, or to abandon ship and like get into our tender boat. And I'm probably not going to have an emergency system because I'm going to do mostly coastal cruising, and I might could swim to shore because I'm just not going to do any ocean crossings yet. I'm just not going to see that for another 5 or 10 years after it gets in the water. So I'm not going to think about that so much, but if I'm along the coast and I end up on the rocks and stuff, I need something to buy me some time. And so I went with the big guy. And this Johnson will do it because this dude is popping out 4,000 gallons an hour, which is massive. And so I went online and picked up this hose, and it is a true 2-inch size, which is terrific. It is a marine quality product, and the difference in that is that if there's a fire near this, that this will not like try to add to the fire. It's going to be more fire resistant, so it's going to take more time to like heat that up and burn it. Now I did also, of course, I bought a really nice Groco through-hole fitting that's 2 inches. All my through-hole fittings, except for some of the plastic ones above the waterline, they're all Groco. And I was going to go bronze, but they don't go 2 inches in bronze, so I went with stainless everything. So this will, I think I'm going to put this out the stern. And then I've got a nice big nipple here that's going to go onto the hose. And I decided that I want to put a valve here, because if I want to close off water coming in here while we're anchored or someplace, and I'm on board, for example, and I know I don't need that right now, I want to be able to shut this off. And then what I'm going to do is add a push-pull control that will attach to the end of that handle, and it's a push control knob. This one is my emergency fuel shut-off, so that I will be able to, with the knob, just pull that, and it will shut off my fuel system. And so I'm going to put a push-pull system just like this on here, because I want to be able to open and close this valve regularly. I think that's going to be important. There's going to be times that I want it open, like we're underway or we're in a place that's kind of nutty or whatever, and I want that back up. So we will open this valve, turn on the power, and be fully protected. Or if I'm going to be, ashore for the day, for example, on a tour, and I want to make sure the boat's protected, I'll turn it on and open it. I looked at valves and stuff, and we talked about this other Johnson controller here. And I thought I wanted to look around and see what's the best. And everybody is talking about this aqua alarm, that this is the best, most reliable pump switch that money can buy. So I picked one up. It was an open return, and I got to save some money on it. But this system comes with, it's got a marking here for your panel. We got a little shrink wrap and its own little alarm here. So I would have this alarm and this alarm to help warn me when I've got water coming in. And so that's going to give me two systems, and they're going to be completely isolated. This has its own switch, its own hose, and we can control that knob and turn it off. It's got its own alarm. And then this system here over will be controlled by this bit. They're both going to use the same cabling, but I think this is going to be a pretty robust system at the end of the day. This is my big bundle of clamps that I bought for the boat, and I've got a bunch of these really nice stainless T-clamps. Those will be my connectors to all of this. And I just think that's going to look really sharp with that frickin' blue hose, which I just love. So when we add the Big Johnson in, okay, we go from 2720 up to 6720, which is 4.2 times higher than the recommended 1600 maximum for a 35-foot boat. So maybe I have all my bases covered. So what do you think? Is this nutty and just too complex for a little 30-foot boat? Probably. But my focus when I'm designing this boat and planning it is to meet the standards of a true blue water boat. And I don't want to skimp on systems. I don't want it to be too small or not enough, or I don't want to like just throw a few little pieces and parts on here and make this thing usable and then just go get it in the water and then not upgrade into like the next phase later. Let's just do it right from the start. Because, if I buy all this crap now, well, as I build out the interior, I've already got the parts and I can build space to fit them. And so it'll be a beautiful system, I hope, at the end of the day, where all this equipment fits nicely into the boat like it was designed for that. And it's robust enough that, yes, if I lose power, I have a pump. I have two separate systems in case one of them wire catches fire and a fuse blows, right? And I'm ashore. Well, the red pump with Johnson there is going to pick up the slack for me, because before I go ashore, I'm going to open that valve and make sure that circuit breaker's active. But if I'm running low on power, for example, I might shut that Big Johnson down and just run my smaller units. And so it's going to give me options. So what do you guys think? How do you feel about what I've designed and what I'm planning? Am I batshit crazy out of my mind? Did I spend too much and overthink it? Yep. I admit it. But at the end of the day, like I said, as a solo sailor, and especially one who's disabled with Lyme disease, I think having a boat that's going to coddle me and take care of me and give me greater margins to mitigate problems. And then I'll be able to relax in and clearly think through any kind of systems problems that I'm having. And at the end of the day, this is only going to add a lot of value to the boat. I mean, insurance companies are going to love this. Harbors and marinas are going to love to have us there, because we're going to have a nice, safe, trustworthy, reliable bilge systems. So yeah, tell me your thoughts on this, guys. All right, I'm learning and figuring it all out, but I'm excited about what I've designed. And everybody keeps asking me, Deb, how are you going to run all this on power? Well, here's my thinking on that. Battery technology is leaping forward right now in incredible rates, with the electric vehicle market, the home charging networks, the solar, systems, which we're going to add. And don't forget, I've got a big ass generator that kicks out like 3,500 watts, and it runs off of gasoline and propane. Oh yeah, propane. And because that generator runs off of propane, I decided to go with a little bigger propane tank. Now I'm going to do a whole video on the fuel systems later, but let's just take a peek. So I've got a 30-gallon propane tank, a nice base for it, which I'll secure in the locker. I've got a proper strap that goes around here, which is designed for a propane tank. Got a nice regulator, got an adapter to fill smaller tanks, and I have a pressure gauge. And then one of the other things that I bought was a kit here to where I can transfer from one tank to another if I needed to. And I bought some of this really nice little bit of rubber edging here. There's some on the bottom of the tank, also the top. I have this, it goes around, you know, the edges of your lockers and stuff, but I've got some for this propane tank too. I'm also going to hit it with some clear coat and seal up everything before it goes onto the boat. But with 30 pounds of propane, I should be able to run my generator for a good while. So, you know, to be able to run that generator, even if the engine and the main boat electronics are fried and they're not going to work, okay, I can fire up that gas-powered generator. It works off of gasoline and propane. I'm going to go with propane primarily because you can store it. You can store it forever. It's not like gasoline is going to go bad. It's cleaner, and I just think it's easier on your engines, so they're going to last longer, they're going to run cleaner, and it's a little cleaner for the environment as well. But if I can't find propane or I'm out, I can pour some gasoline in there that I use on the tender motor, our little Honda, and I can use some of that gasoline in there and run it. And that essentially will run my big Johnson bilge pump until I can get somewhere, maybe beach the boat or get it into a sling and lift it out or back onto the trailer. It'll buy me time. So with this system that I'm doing and a generator, and like I think the last thing I'm going to buy for the boat is batteries, because and electronics like screens and things like that, because I think it's going to be a whole new marketplace when I get to that place. So yeah, I'm not worried about how many amps this system is drawing right now, because I think I've got opportunities to mitigate that. All right, so here we go. So the pile is growing here with boat stuff. But I think I have a pretty good little system put together here. But I'm really curious to hear people's thoughts about what I'm planning to do and what I'm planning to use. And, you know, am I like way overdoing it, obviously, but that's cool. I just think, you know, being prepared is going to make sure that I'm ready for whatever I need for the boat. It's gonna keep us floating, and I'm gonna be able to sleep pretty well at night, I'm thinking, right? Oh, sorry, turning you guys. I do that all the time sometimes. I turn the screen around. Okay, so this is what I'm planning to do. Tell me your thoughts. I want to hear from people. Tell me what I'm missing. I don't have any check valves in line. I'm considering those, but I'm also a little worried. Oh, additionally, these mesh bags. I have a number of these mesh bags, and I'm thinking like this pump will get a mesh bag over it. The intake for this whale pump will get a mesh bag. This mesh bag can go around this pump here to keep hair out, and I've got a big one here to go around this whole Johnson. And I know that's probably going to present some controversy about putting a mesh bag around them and limiting flow, but I don't really think that's going to be a problem. I will do some tests, okay, with and without it once it gets all set up in the boat. But especially in here for keeping hair out of that pump and keeping hair out of your float valve, I think having some kind of a little mesh bag is kind of intelligent to think about. All right, guys, I'm Dive Girl Deb, and that's the latest on my bilge pump designs. I'm sure that it's about 8 times bigger than it needs to be. That's just me. That's how I roll. I mean, hopefully you guys saw this fuel system that I put together, which is something that's probably would work in a 60-foot yacht. But you know, every single channel that I watch, when they have trouble with their fuel, it's because it's dirty and they're stuck someplace and they can't get their engines started. Like, I don't want to mess with that. Let's just design a big ass system now. All right, so if the boat's not sinking, then I can go out there with eddies and we can tame whales and go for a ride and enjoy the ocean. So I am Dive Girl Deb, and this is SV Melton's Miracle. The little 30-foot Luger Voyager Adventurer. And it is May, which means that it is Lyme Disease Awareness Month. Okay, so it's right now is the time of year you need to be thinking about Lyme disease, how to spray your shoes and your pants and keep your grass cut short. And if you find a tick on you, you need to keep it so that it can be tested. And, go to ILADS, ILADS, and learn about Lyme disease. Talk to your doctors about, I've looked up the symptoms of Lyme disease from Dr. Biriscano's free 3-page questionnaire online, and I'm getting a pretty high score. And then if you think you have enough symptoms in that, then go to IGENEX, IGENEX laboratories in Northern California, get a test kit, and find out. It's always good to know. And I think most importantly to remember is that Lyme disease is congenital. You can be born sick. And I'm over 60 years old, and I think I was. So it happens quite a lot, actually. It's been happening for multiple generations. Lyme runs in family, and it causes cancer. And everybody says, oh, cancer runs in family. Well, if we look at the pathogens that are in those people, that's probably a pretty big part of their health puzzle. So let's go find out and get tested. All right, guys, I love you. Let's go out there and enjoy the Pacific Northwest and go sailing and support Lyme disease patients and learn about how honeybee venom in our bee venom therapy uses the main ingredient, melittin, which kills just a load of bad pathogens in your bug and leaves your healthy cells alone. It's remarkable. So, yep, melittin's miracle. It is a miracle. Bee venom therapy. You got to try it out, man. It rocks. All right, guys. I love you. Take care. Let me know about how you feel about my designed bilge pump systems here with 2 of them that are run parallel, and give me your thoughts. And we will see if, if I missed something, I want to know that. If there's something that I need to learn, I want to know that too. So thanks a lot, you guys, for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.